British pound, of course, I think you'd have some slippage here. I don't know what they would fill you at. On this broker, we got a serious reaction, gapped. And if you had a buy stop here, I don't know what would have happened to you. I'm not even sure. If I had a 30-second chart, maybe I could find that entry. But you had to be long a little bit. But the problem is did you get out at, is your target was set to 1,000 pips, then you could have picked your eggs a little bit here. That thing went up clean. 400 pips clean. So today when they bid it down, I don't know if anybody bought down here, but this was the obvious buy, was come back to here. You had to love that for a structure entry and for a cycle entry, because what's the interval here? Every so many bars, right? Every so many bars. Here, I got a little problem with my microphone right now. So I want to copy this over. I'm holding on to the mic, but if you can imagine, we're just going to have to draw the boxes here. So here, we'll make it easy. Why work so hard, right? There's another little trick there if you really want to drill down here. So the rectangle is the ultimate, because to me it's the capture window. So if I'm selling in a 20 pip range, and that becomes the breakout pullback confirmation double bottom entry to go ripping up. And of course here we never come back to the starting gate of here ever again, because the new starting gate apparently was the last known this little baby in this big controversy here, where we got the slam of about 40 pips of that early scalper selling new highs, counter trend, new high guys, just made 20 pips there. Counter trend people selling this window in a 20 pip window, right? So yes, you could put in 10K every pip, and then just set different stops and different take profits to make the ratios anywhere from break even to 5 to 1. But here, you would have said, I should have put in some gigundous targets. No shit. Really? So who couldn't see the looming vacuum? Who didn't know that if we took this price out here, I mean, this has to just be so obvious. I don't know nonsense. I mean, dude, step up to the fucking logic plate. You think the market can see your algo? It's, well, he's a big banker guy. Talk to ICT. He says there's orders up here to sell. No shit. But how deep are you putting these orders in, and how many tickets are you putting in? So yeah, you could have sold up. You're underwater. Let's face it. If you sold like a bandit above here, yeah, you're underwater on that ticket. But if you're planning on selling, which I would if I was selling every 100 pips, okay, I'm putting in 1K every 100 pips. How much money is that? For some people it's peanuts. If I told some people, well, I can make you like, we'll put a crop of 10Ks up here. I'm going to hit a button. It's going to pump these tickets in. 10 1Ks in a basket. And it's just sitting there. All week long. So next week, if it ever gets up here, who's not selling up there? Are you retarded? So this is closing, this is healing, it's closing, it's seller's territory, it's scalpable. Another 120 pips here, come on. Same thing in the euro versus the pound, it's dropping like a rock through the floor. Unless you're willing to drop down to the 1 hour chart, there's nothing you can do about it. People are saying, what do you do about a market that moves like that? Holy shit. Well, if you're selling on limits, you're getting crushed. If you got in that very top one and you said, well, I'm just going to... How are you not getting killed? So this thing moves heavy. This British pound, nothing to fuck around with. And we just took out the high of the fucking year and the high of the middle of last year. So it's a big deal. And it's a house cleaning, and I sold everything I owned on the euro when we got above this. So I got on the euro way back when it only went up 100 pips, but it's a lot. I traded it from Friday's close, and it engulfed into the floor, and I held that whole position. I added to it, so I got in on the trap that goes back here, and I just kept adding on pullbacks every time they pulled it back. So, and then I just got out of the whole thing. Once we got above the high of the double top here on the daily, I thought it was dumping everything here. So I did, because I had a big position unload, and it took this much time to unload it up here. And that was the big trap exit. And I was a little nervous because I forgot about the elections, and I didn't think it would affect the euro as much as it did the pound. But I was like, holy shit, that election bullshit's coming. But to me, after FOMC, once it reached this, took out this high, we got above this, you know, anybody was buying at a pullback to that. Right, let's hope that they were, if they were a confirmation trader, they would have put a buy limit on either the closing price here or the last known high, because tops become bottoms. Yes, they really do. And when the market goes lunging like that, if you go to the 4-hour chart, you can probably see the entry, right? Breaks out 20 pips, pulls back in the morning, later on, and here comes the fucking news, and they're inching up, and I'm like, holy shit, I guess it was supposed to come out at 6 o'clock, they said, the news, and I'm looking at the clock, and I'm like, well, this is just end of the day rollover bullshit. This should be no big deal. And it just starts to pump, and it gets up there, and it gets all frisky, and then I was concerned that it was going to take out this high here. In other words, when we got to this point here, I thought, well, you know, we're in the trap. And it actually pulled back off of this top, see? So that is the key level. This hole, this steep ridge left behind, see how they dipped into it? They pulled it back, so, you know, there was a point there where you could have just come flying back. If you ever seen the market do that, just come ripping back, and you're like, that's interesting. Because just because they bid it up into the news doesn't mean it won't rip back. So here's the 1-hour view, and so my broker has a wick just before we took off. So the 15, right here, I don't see on this broker, but my broker, since it's fixed spread, it's slammed to here, and then it took off because I think the spread got wide here, and then it's off to the races. So this is broker updates. So that was it. That 5 p.m. It was an hour early, in my opinion. Of course, I maybe the daylight savings time, they fucked it up, and so above this area, I thought, well, of course, this is the obvious buy right now. But, yeah, they ripped that thing up pretty hard. And then up here I got out because I thought, well, that's a real high probability what's going to happen here is what's happening right now, actually. So the people that sold this window are up on all their tickets right now at this point in time, just so happens to be. So it's 10:30 at night almost, Eastern Standard Time. And so that was quite a rambunctious. And of course, people that are selling there, that, you know, they're already cashed out into this, logically into this top, this double top. So they're up. Their worst entry is up now at this moment in time. Now, a lot of things can change, and we could be probing higher and starting to take out this stairway up here, but like I said, by the end of the year, you know, you could flatten out this blue line, get rid of all this pent up profile here. This is kind of like the market profile. As far as I'm concerned, it's the deepest prices. There will be selling like crazy up in here. You just got to imagine, like, this is a key. So it's just showing you all the dents where you'd really want to have a standing army of limits here. and maybe you do have a stop up here in Disneyland. If you're willing to put a stop in up there, then you can start martingaling in heavy here and sell all that shit. So yeah, you could do it. You lay that shit out. I mean, you just do it, and then you walk away. Now the walking away may be difficult. Here, look at this. Comes down, tests that double bottom. Never gets involved in this, and you can only imagine the bloodbath if it was to cave into this hole. It's such a firm structure left behind, and right now you are basically at the top of this range. Right now you're in this box, like it or not, but that box is situated a little bit low in the larger picture. And don't forget this key double bottom, which we violated. This has become a pivot, and then we're above it, but I don't think that's valid anymore. I could say that about this back here. I don't think it's valid, so I'm going to just get rid of that and start over from scratch, which you can't ever go wrong because I'm using the 100 pip grid as my gauge. So if I'm going to sell into the 100-yard line, I'm going to start selling heavily here right now. Like I just put those orders in now. Now how we get there, I may think, and it would be valid to think, just for the next hour, I'm going to put tickets all the way up here in case we get a spike. So I'm actually estimating the rate of change to be this many days. I will sell here for this many days, but after a while, I'm going to have to move that sell pack up and keep moving, front running the market, right? Because eventually it's going to get to a sweet spot where I've already got pendings here, so I'm going to be cancel replays and be in front of the market. So you're always situating yourself when you play back the market. Just imagine this is your buy limit bank, and how long would it last? Would it last all month? All month you would buy here. Is that a good idea? Yeah, because it's a perfect idea, right? Anything in this 100 pip pocket all month long, this is your first winning scenario. You're buying every 10 pips. You may think it's peanuts, then buy fucking every pip, okay? Buy every fucking pip. If you're really that fucking hell-bent on making 16 grand a day, buy every half pip. They'll let you do it. You could press a button that lays in fucking 160K on one button. I'll guarantee you I could write that script and launch it. Of course, the broker might be like, okay, dude, don't keep hitting that button. I mean, depending on how they feel about their server abuse. But yes, you could trade like that. You could put in 15 minutes psychotic, without a doubt, you're buying every pip for 100 pips with a master stop of 200 pips. To make 50, the news is coming out, it's a 15-minute script. You really think they're going to ram that thing? Now, in that British pound, if you waited, or if you launched that, imagine the tickets are coming in just as the fucking news is hitting that shit. Yeah, it's spattering in there. And of course, are you in before the news? I know nonsense people weren't in on that. There's no way they'd be in before that. There's like no way they would trade that shit. But sometimes you got to. I mean, the pattern's there for a reason, I think. Like, you're like, holy shit. And of course, what was going on here? Is this when that Boris guy was, what they found in a hotel room with a hooker down here? What's going on here? Is this the channel? And this is an epic channel. Let's not forget that if you're a channel trader and you're like, dude, this, and look at it diverge away from it at the bottom. There's a lot of money in this fucking currency. Here, it's a no-brainer to buy on pullbacks, right? Maybe they're wrong about Brexit. Start buying here. Start buying at the 50-yard line. I'm sure there's a Fibonacci handle in here somewhere. Jesus Christ, just put fucking orders in there. God, these people, you're just trading for peanuts. Yeah, okay. Sold 10 grand's not a lot of money to you. I got it. 50 grand, you don't care. It's like 50 grand's not enough money to make for 1 week. I want to make 16 grand a day, man. You don't get it. Like, I got hookers to buy. That's why I thought that guy was going to say, well, you don't understand the price of hookers. Like, they're charging by the hour now. They call them escorts. Gosh, Applebee's, what's going on there, man? I was just at Applebee's. I'm like, what is this, a fucking runway show for women? It's like Hooters with clothes on. what the fuck's going on at Applebee's? And then they got some guy come by, like some fucking alcohol pusher going, I'm Jed. Let me know if I'm like, dude, I'm listening to the fucking impeachment bullshit on my tablet. Get the fuck out of here. I'm trying to eat some of your over-salted food. Like, I'm so hungry. So I get the pasta thing. I'm like, dude, she goes, how's it taste? I go, well, if you like to have a sodium attack, it's amazing. But it's only, I just thought, I give them a chance. You know, I haven't been in Applebee's in 15 years. Yeah, it's not just a place to get drunk anymore. I guess it's okay food. Yeah, this show's sponsored by Applebee's. And I said, can I log in your... Yeah, what's the password? Applebee's. Without the apostrophe. Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. I was going to put the apostrophe in just... Fucking hey. So how about that Brexit? Look at the British pound kind of like the guppy kind of took off a little bit too. Was anybody in that trade? Look at this punishment on the euro versus. Now I told you that moving average shit works, right? Was anybody prepared to buy this at the 100-yard line? I think this is a good place to get in right here. Look at the support level. I was showing this. I said that we're gonna start. I'm buying this as it plunges every 100 pips. So I'm gonna get in big swing trade here. Look at how ridiculous this price is. Are you kidding me? People are already buying at the 20-yard line here. Look at this tonight. They're like, we're on it. Look at that fucking thing. So I would come in with limits like this right now. The rest of the week, just put a big fucking bank in here. That's stupid. So press the button. Put in with different stops, different take profits. When you get down to the bottom, it's scalping X. You know what? You wait an hour and press the same button and stack that shit up. Or put in a different script, really. The ultimate is to have 200 unique tickets in there. With that super high res peanut gallery trading. But, you know, I was taking $12 a ticket, you know, it's not bad. $12, you know. I mean, scalpers in front of the, I don't know what you make in front of the scalping in front of a rock concert, but this is like, you can just go as many as you want. And there's less risk that way, I think, because, you know, if you're wrong, you lose $50. If you're right, you make 200, you know. Not too hard to do with 100K. And if you don't mind pressing the button, like I don't mind chasing it, like on the 5-minute, I'm like, yeah, this looks like it's drifting up. And I'm building a long position, very tight stops, and I'm thinking, yeah, if it makes a 20 pip burst, we'll make money. But yeah, the election shit, man. I wasn't even watching the pound. I'm on the tablet looking at the euro, and I'm thinking, wow, the tick chart was out of control, you know, during that session. I just thought, really? 6 o'clock was supposed to be the news, but I think it was the rollover that the new session factor, and the brokers and all that. So I'm sure some people made a lot of money on that pound, though. And some people probably blew up the account and then some, but definitely you can't beat an election for drama. I wouldn't try that with the Trump election. Might just go without a hitch. There may be no market action when Trump wins because he's already won. Because the guy in Britain won. He's just like Trump. He's got the same kind of disheveled haircut. Seems like he just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. But yeah, that's wow. Man, that was like falling out of bed on Sunday night gap. The market gapped. Like, fuck. I mean, I never seen a gap in this shit. But of course, it was 5 p.m. So, man, I bet there was not a lot of people in there, maybe. It gapped really hard because there's nobody in there. Like, people are like, I'm not going to send that thing. Of course, You know, for the heavy hitters that are hedged on something else, they wouldn't even notice it. You know, they're just in for the swap or something. They locked in some position. But yeah, that was pretty dramatic. I would say that moved about 8 times more than the easily, maybe 10 times more than the euro dollar didn't move nearly as hard, and so a lot more people in that market stabilizing it. Of course, this was all about Brexit, but still, if they're leaving Europe, then I think the euro versus the pound tells the story here. Pretty harsh, but not as many pips up. You know, it's only down 200 pips, so it's not like a big deal here. So I think once it stabilizes, I think people are freaking out there, you know, because it's down 200. But I think once people get used to the idea here, it's just going to be a normal market all over again. Just dumb shit, up and down movements in a range. I don't know if we could keep tanking at this rate, you know. That's 4 hours ago straight down. I was, like I said, I'd put buy limits in here and see what happens. I'd first go with the long-lasting deep ones and then just move on to the next currency pair and just work on building up tickets in there. Of course, put in the 4-hour tickets up here really close to the market. So I put the 4 hours in here, and I would put in the overlapping too. I'm going to have, don't forget, since I'm trading a lot of tickets, I'm going to have 4-hour bank there. Put an 8-hour bank overlapped a little bit deeper. And I'm going to come with the 12 hours. And the 12 hour, I'm going to start here also. See, 12 hour all the way down. And inside the top of that is going to be a trend trade, so to speak, or a pretty profitable trade. So if it dips into that first part, I'm going to get out here on something. And then as it goes in deeper, my exits are going to be like this. All right, so when I'm talking like this, I'm talking about a whole rack of tickets, to the point where, like I say, if your computer's not fast enough, you will not be able to manipulate the chart. Like if you go like this, it'll take forever because you have so many tickets in. But you're probably going to have a hard time blowing up a $5,000 account on 1Ks that you've decided to risk about, on average, $200 a day in elaborate placement of buy only. So you're taking advantage of the buy side. Pretty heavy. Now you could do the sell side too, and of course at the market you sell when it's up, buy at the market, you buy when it's down. The bigger it's down, the wider you buy. So this is calling for like a 100 pip stop right now. So if you buy a 200 pip sell off, you should probably put a 100 pip stop in. Try to make 50. And then just like a fish that you're trying to catch, okay, you might make that, come back in, put in limits again. Just keep coming back in, because now that the thing's starting to calm down, you got to trade closer and closer and rebuild a position and get in the apex of a triangle or flag. And then for me, it's going to be build it and then dump it. Some people might want to bracket it, put buy stop, sell stop, alter confirmation. You're going to pay a little bit more. So your ratios have to be better. You're going to have to take that. You would have got slippage today had you bracketed before the news. I'm sure they've got slippage on that. And after you got filled, if the spreads widen, they kick you out of the stop that you got too. I didn't think that's. I don't think that Ryan Brown realizes that, you know, this shit's hitting a server somewhere, and they're trying to honor your trades that you're giving ridiculous tickets to buy at the market, like buy. Are you nuts? And then you think that, oh well, they're kind of like, the broker's fucking me over, dude. You are crushing that broker with at the market tickets. It's nothing. It's one thing to lay in limit grids and let them tag you. That is first come first serve, and your limits are honored before the market orders. There's less slippage. Plus, you predetermine it. You don't know. They may be tight spreads when those fill. And you may be able to scalp your 10 or 8, 9, 14, 16, 32 pips out. Looks like a buy here in the euro for about 10 pips here. It's recovering, I think. A little drift follow through into tomorrow, but I suppose there'll be a reckoning here when London opens. We'll get like a reassessment of what they think the pound's worth against the. But I'm going to focus on this euro pound. It looks like a nice, easy swing trade here. Buy with wide stops, come in with like 12 hours, 100 pips deep. I may be asking a lot from the market to come back down, so we might have to just go to the 1 hour chart. And I think we could make 50 pips here. So I think it's by next week we could be banging on this price. This is kind of a huge new low here. I think we just hit like a 3-year low. That was the deepest sell-off of any currency pair. Yeah, this triple bottom, we've invaded that. And I would say I'm a buyer all the way down. At this point, it's obvious, this trade, how stupid it is. When it gets down here, I'm going to buy so much, it's going to be insane. I don't think we're coming down there anytime soon. That's my trade plan. So next thing is catch a falling knife. I'm going to start coming in here. I'm going to get 300 pips stop. I'll buy here again with a 300 pip stop. So the next 3 tickets I put in will be $30. I'll be risking $90 coming in. And I think that way I can relax and not really watch this trade. Every day it drops into my tickets, I'll be like, yeah, I like that. 300 pips stop, buying every 100 pips. That's $30 risk. Some people could spend that at Applebee's with their insane price food. I should have brought my own equipment in there, my own condiments. Honey, they brought me this strange dish. It was pasta with this looked like a hot dog there. I think it was bread. So yeah, it wasn't bad. I don't go out to eat much. It's so salty. I think I'm gonna crystallize. Man, that was some serious sodium they had going there. Yeah, I think it's oversold here on the euro versus pound. That's my assessment. Yeah, looks like a little drift on the euro here tonight. So recovery. That's quite a move. Let's go to the 5-minute chart. Look for an entry. I always like to drill down the 5-minute chart. You know. Look at that. We had a double bottom there. 20 pips. Look, that thing went up 40 pips. This came all the way back 40 pips. Yeah, that thing's rambunctious. I'm interested. Let's start getting in this thing. Yeah, that's the ticket. I think I'm going to buy deep just for kicks down here. See if we fill tonight. I may not see it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Not much left this week to do. Looks great on the daily, though. Look at that. Clean down. I think it's actually at the bottom of this channel. I think you could throw a channel on this thing. Wow. Kind of overshot. Pretty severe. Wow. Oof. Now, anything below here, I'm thinking is a buy of the century in the long run. Because it's not about Brexit. It's about, look at this fucking price. Are you kidding me? That's unsustainable. I'm glad you're bearish. I'm sure people are selling at this point. It wouldn't be me. Man, I wouldn't care if I lost 30 bucks buying here with a 300 pip stop. At least I'd say that's I'm not buying high. I'm buying low. And I buy down here again, so what a move. Yeah, I'll wait for it to sell off on the 1 hour. Every hour it's down, I'll buy at the market. So I can't buy this hour. I missed that entry. So I'll just put a limit in. I'll start my limits right here. Run them tonight. I don't know what's going to happen. So next week, yeah, if they come into my trap, it's kind of like this weird surprise. You just lay the orders in and you're like, oh, look at that. Filled orders. And of course, when you don't think you're in big enough and you think, yeah, that was a great idea to get in there, and then you have to come into the market with the other tickets. So I just start punching the buy button and just frantically buying, really. Maybe about 50K like that. And maybe I'm in 50K on limits. Yeah, 200 if need be, so also, if you miss the move, on the long side, I think throwing sell limits in there. I've only written about 10 sell limit grids that throw a basket up there, not like placing one ticket at a time is very difficult. Drag and drop, even if you had a mouse and you were dragging and dropping singles, that would be brutal. You'd have to put in, I got those $10 drops that are like, it's like a 7K with a 25 pip stop kind of thing. We're risking a dollar amount. So the wide swing tickets are 1Ks, and then the 2K is a 50 pip stop, and the 3K is a 25 pip stop, and on, 17 and a half pip stop, and the 4K, and on. And then that way, when you put them on the screen, yeah, you could do that. That's a different technique. Now, that is the preferred method because now you're actually putting orders where they should fall as far as the structure. But if you blanket this because you're driving your car and you say, oh, it looks like it's tanking like a whore, I'm going to put the tank and the whore grids in and just hit a button that puts in 60K, and it's buying every 3 pips for 60K. And you're risking $300. And you just hit that on your tablet, is a completely different trade than sitting down and meticulously placing orders where they should go. Or even, running these ridiculous radar algorithm systems that are scanning for trade. Please hold, scanning for trade. I mean, that kind of nonsense. I mean, yeah, I get it, but like I said, you got to have a bank of bots going on that. You need 20 robots with the same dumbass trade plan. I mean, a slightly different dumbass algo. But when you look at the auction thing, you're like, oh yeah, that's way more money. That's 8 to 1 risk, 1 to make 8 risk. Well, today you could have risked 100 pips to make 400 in the pound. You could have got in. They never spiked it back before they ripped it up. If you're on the wrong side of that, so you sold it, so you got slippage, and yeah, you lost. So people, what do you do about those losing trades? You just lose. That's all. It's how much you're losing though. I mean, $20. They rip you up for $20. Okay, you know what? Sure, nobody wants to lose 200 or $20. But if you made 1,000, you can't complain. You shouldn't complain if you made 1,000, you lost 200. How many times can you do that and make money? Well, you're always going to say, I only made $800. I'm only making $800. Yeah, no, because you lost 200, you made 1,000. So, well, we're here not to lose. Do you understand? I don't think so. I think it's how much you're going to lose. So you're not going to lose bullshit. These guys are no nonsense. This is the dumbest shit in the world. Well, the idea is not to lose money. I guess if you're just throwing it out the window driving down the road, but even that can be fun, I mean, who's doing that? At least you're a rebel. But yeah, this whole no nonsense thing every time. But he's talking about the diversifying and talk about diversifying. My God, he's got cryptos. He's got this. He's collecting coins, and I guess that's what people come to trading for. It's the money, to make the money, and wear the suit and tie and all that stuff. And I had a friend that's like, I want to trade so I can wear a suit and tie. I go, you could. I don't think it would change too much. I guess you would trade differently, right? Oh, I'm buying at the market, man. Like, let me adjust my tie while I buy at the market. Just pardon me. Excuse me for a moment. I need to straighten my tie before I place this order. Now step back. Step back. I'm a professional. People are so courteous. I wasn't going to punch the waitress. I'm sitting there listening to this thing. These fucking idiots talking, and these Democrats talking on these impeachment hearings, and then she's asking me if my food tastes good. I'm like, oh my God, I just listened to this one guy just rip these Democrats to shreds. It's epic. Beautiful. What a circus, man. Unbelievable. So yeah, quite a shocker there. And gold doesn't have anything to say about it. Gold's kind of like slightly taking off. Pretty dead on gold. Nothing going on there. It's going to take a fucking end of the world for that to move. Nice gap here on the euro yen. I think that was obvious. We were going up on that. Yeah. Here, this is getting all frisky. I think I want to buy this. I'd buy this thing if it dropped about how many pips there? Look at this. Look at these dumb shit breakouts in Asia. That's a winning trade strategy, It's funny people don't like this dumb shit Asian breakup. Look at that, clean. Another clean breakout to the upside. Clean breakout to the downside. Why is that trade so easy and so nobody does it? Of course, there's no garlic powder in there, son. Don't you understand? Trading that breakout's just for dumb people. You ain't dumb, is you? You mean if I put a buy stop above there? Well, yeah. Well, we use moving averages here. You know what I'm talking about? Like here, you're waiting to get filled. Either a buy stop or a sell stop. Another dumb shit. I'm going to start trading like that. Just on this account to prove it. I mean, I wouldn't trade like that, but I'm going to say, hey, I'm up on that trade. Look, I got filled. Now I could bail before. Where's the exit? If this is my entrance, my exit's going to be, I figure, if it takes out the low of the other day. Apparently, these other people's exits, that's why it bounced here on the 1 hour, right? That's why the rally came in there, right? Obvious, right? Why did it, where does it trap people at in the Asian session? 1 hour chart. The first 4 hours here. And then here comes the shenanigans, and then there's one guy that gets a scalp for an hour by buying this new low. Nice. Even goes a little bit higher. Then it takes out this high. So see all these little mini auctions, all this stuff going on, and trend traders taking here, and who's not buying below here? Who doesn't just want to buy here? You'd be nuts not to buy there. You're up 20 pips on this ticket, right? You were just up 20 pips and you bought this whole plunge and didn't have to be there, and you made money. The amount would be like, sure, you put $1 million position here, you put a $500,000 position in here, and that's a good trade because the $1 million position Made 60 pips. Okay, it made 60 pips. Broker's not saying you can't put two tickets in at the same price with different exits. It's not. The broker's your friend. They're taking all these dumbass orders. I'd be buying this plunge right now. I put a limit bank in there. Now, to me, this is a different story than the euro versus the pound, because in the phase we're at now, we've already gone underneath this floor. So what's going on? Where's the money at right now? Structurally speaking, I guess it's a structure scan. But hell, if you can't hold below that, fucking buy right now. Buy every hour it's down and start putting limits in here for whatever you can afford. Whatever you think that's worth. Because I would buy all the way down into that, because this would be an amazing price if we get back here. First, we got to get through this now. This is the new top becoming a bottom, right? That's the new top that just became a bottom. We're gonna bet on it, and in 2 minutes we're gonna update this, and it's gonna be a hammer. So, is this almost 100 pips up here? Yes, this is the 100-yard line. There's a 20 pip window there. You could have just sold on sell stops. You could have just done dumb shit trading here. Confirmation entry. Sell stop, sell stop, sell stop. Oh, what do you know? Buy stop, sell stop, because it's a small bar. Buy stop, sell stop, small bar. So buy stop, small bar accumulation. One last pop. Oh! This is looming. And look at this nice arc. Kind of trendy excitement up here, but then just melts back down. Buyers come in there, though. Scalp it for 20 pips. Then continue going. I'm buying this, though. Because of this move, it's not as if I'm buying into it constantly going down. It's gone up. It's given me a bottom, and I think, oh, yeah, I'll buy in there. Other people join in, then the sellers are sitting at this top. Always the breakout, fake, the trap there. And also a small bar, breakout, non-directional guys are in that, and then non-directional people. This is really, the robots would probably feast on these. Look at this, in the middle of nowhere. No volatility. Inverted hammer, so serious bottom, and this vacuum is so steep, and then it fills. Buy stops are stacking up. I just bought the market, and I'm going to put limits in. Yep, I would put a dense amount of limits in naturally down here. More tickets, longer lasting, which is more tickets because that means they're going to still be there. These may not. These are the 15 and the 30 minutes and the 2 hours, and you just build this stuff up. I mean, it's like if you have buy limits sitting here and they crush into that window, this ticket's a winner, right? By 20 pips. And everybody's getting out here. So that was the big pivot. And it's just a 20 pip grid. It's how big are you in? And when this comes down, is it coming in on confirmation to fill you? I'd be long right now at the market because it's 11 o'clock at night, and I'd have limits down there, and I'd just sit back and let it go. I mean, it's nothing you can do about it. Here I'd be selling on limits above here. That looks obvious. This is the euro dollar. Still cranking north, but wow, yeah, I'm selling into that. So I'm looking at this as my entry window. The daily chart, I'm going to say there's serious sellers here at this level. So I go 40 pips above. I'd start selling from here up to here really hard. It's got to get there in less than, it's got to get there in like, what, 18 hours or something. So all day long you could sell up here. And once you see it come up there and you go, oh, okay, backs off a little bit, you think, yeah, it's kind of running out of gas. And at that point, you kind of have to judge it because initially you would put a sell limit here and it could last all day. And it doesn't seem like that risky a thing because certainly having this last 15 minutes would be ridiculous. Because, I mean, it would probably still take, I mean, wait, I'm really going to go up like this in 15 minutes? If one day, at the end of the day, we could be up here, that would be pretty astounding. I think there's going to be issues here. There's going to be issues here. When we stretch to there, like here, imagine we're just hitting these prices. But they'd be out here. More likely, heavy sellers here, comes back at least 20 pips. So you got to get those 20, 30 pip take profits in. Would take you back to this. So this is as far as we've made it. We pegged that 20 pip window now, and I'm sure you can understand, I have no problem putting buy limits here right now, right? Because anything that comes back into this mix, into all this bullshit down here, is a great trade too. It doesn't matter whether you buy or sell. It's how close to the market are you doing that. So if you come in here and buy here and here and here, all you need to do is come down and do this nonsense and you're making money, right? So you don't have to have a destination that's way the fuck out here or way the fuck down here. You can just make money from this bullshit. It on the daily chart, it looks like, oh, you know what? That makes sense. You can perceive it could come to here. It could come to here. The only problem is when you go to the 1 hour chart. So let's look at that amount of pips we're trying to make. 20 pips. We're only trying to make 20 to 40 pips. Go to the 30-minute chart. You're like, oh, okay, I get it. So yeah, this is a big top and then rips back. This is when everything was freaky and I just got out there. I was like, I am not sticking around for this shit. And look how he came faithfully back to the breakout point on the half hour. So you could have loaded up here. There's, you know, you can do all these trades, you know. You could cashed out there. This was another place. When I saw this, I go, yeah, I can see it. They're selling, and I bought here, I think, on this pullback. I'm like, yeah, I think I can see that going on. And we had to imagine that could get to here by London Open. It could actually come to here and here and here. And now this seems like even the best place to buy because, you know, there's got to be a concavity back here, an undercut that's just, wow. We may never make it back to this. We may just triangulate, take another bump up, make it to here, sellers come in, and you can just make money from this meandering crap. Or it's going to meander down here, and you can scalp as it comes off of this stuff because you can probably get 20 to 40 to 60 pips out of this currency. Even this kind of classic drift up all day long is still worth 20 to 30 pips. That's not bad money. This is that other video I did where we drift up here and we're like, oh really? Uh-oh. And then this big hole, this 20 pip hole needs to be filled and it just goes ripping through the floor. It's just bye-bye. And then here comes the news, NFP news, whatever the fuck, and rips all the way down. And then I bought way down there, and I held that whole thing, walked it all the way up. So that's the trade I did. Because when I saw this, I go, really? So that's where I really loaded up. And then here comes Sunday night, and they take it to this, right? We knew that this 80 was the big exit. Then back 20 pips down. So buying here again. Then buying this one. And then it's like, you know what? After this run, the FOMC run, like, oh, you know, interest rates we kind of knew, and it drifted up. And nice smooth move there. It wasn't as crazy, but of course came back to that, faithfully come back to that starting gate. Structurally sound. Tops become bottoms. Very predictable. A lot of people trading it. It's the infamous manipulated 30-minute euro dollar. Here, coiling up. Maybe one last move up. Yeah, I would say buying here at the market. You know, for 15 pips maybe. It looks like this got some buy left in it. Kind of tagged the 100-yard line up here, and just classic markets. That's all you can say. It's just classic bullshit. You got to be able to jump in there though. Here, this another one looks like it's going to go ripping up. There's a big hole forming here. I was talking about euro versus yen. Like I said, I'm not trading this thing, but look at this. It doesn't care about the Brexit. I guess safe to trade. What else? This looks like it's going to finally pop. I don't know why this pound New Zealand didn't get all rambunctious during the Brexit, but it didn't. But it looks like it's ready to do damage to that stairway there. This one here. I could go smashing into that. So right now, you're about to test it. Make very close to this point here. So maybe you're long, and I would get the fuck out, right? Because you know there's sellers coming in there. So get in before it breaks, and maybe that's all that's left there. That's a monthly chart, for God's sakes. But boy, that thing looks ready to pounce, doesn't it? Monthly chart just sitting right at the edge like that. Pound New Zealand, that is a wacky pair. What else we got? Yeah, I suppose that's about it. Look at the half hour. Pound looks like it's still got some buying left in it. Look at that thing. Kind of unstoppable at the moment. Somebody made 40 pips off of that, though. Right off the 100-yard line. Like an idiot. Looks ready to go. Make another lunge up. And blow people's minds. Won't believe it. That thing just keeps going up. We should have bought. Let's buy now. That's a good idea, Jethro. You're buying at the top again. I knows it. It'll be okay. Okay, back to the movies. Go back and watch some movie. Enough of these fucking these big banks are making my life miserable.